Hey YouTube, Savandras here. Today we're taking a look at the animation app Callipeg. Now a lot of people were asking me to cover this application after some recent developments improved the application and brought it to new operating systems. For those who don't know, Callipeg is a multi-platform animation suite built by a small team. It started its life on the iPad, and out of the iPad animation applications, I would say it's probably in the top 3 or 4 because it has a lot of advanced features compared to most of the animation apps that are on mobile devices. So it has its own legacy built on the iPad, but it's also available on so much more than that. It's available on the iPhone, it's available on Android, and starting a few weeks ago, it became available on the Mac and Windows. And it's also being looked into a Linux build through Steam. So to sum up my thoughts on Callipeg really quickly, I think it's great for both beginners and more advanced animators because it has a really sleek UI and it has very minimalistic but foundational tools for animators. It kind of reminds me of TV Paint. The app is really simple to get into. I really do feel that it's built first with animators in mind, and it stays relatively cheap on every platform. Let's get into it. So what is exciting about Callipeg? Well, as I already mentioned, it is one of the most capable multi-platform animation programs, and it even has complex features on your phone. This is great for people who want to switch devices and continue where they left off. Some other things I like about Callipeg is that it's created with touch interactions in mind. So since it started off on the iPad, Callipeg is littered with contextual menus and radio menus to speed you up for things like flipping through frames, color palettes, copying and pasting. But if I were to say a real standout feature for Callipeg, aside from its user experience, it would be this new Inbetween Assist feature they introduced last year. So Inbetween Assist, to my knowledge, works without any AI, and it allows you to create reference points on 2 drawing frames. Then you can manipulate them to create an automatic reference for yourself and draw an in-between. Now I do find that this feature is much more useful for just finding the spacing you need between 2 frames rather than actually helping you to draw an in-between, but it helps you to find the perfect positioning for things like faces or silhouettes of whatever you're drawing for an in-between. I think this could be pretty good for complex drawings where you need to be very precise, and I also think this could just in general help beginner animators learn a lot more when it comes to spacing. Moreover, I'm not sure of any other apps where I've used something similar to this except for Blender through add-ons, and I've seen some AI solutions that I haven't tried. Aside from that though, Callipeg has most of the other things you would want inside of an animation application. Now for one, it is a raster program, but the developers confirmed with me that it will be getting vector tools and camera support. It already has a built-in multi-image reference board, shape tools, keyframing, layer parenting, and a redesigned customizable toolbar that will be coming to the mobile versions of Callipeg. It also has tons of importing and exporting options. You can import videos, audio, and pictures and export in formats like PSD, MP4, MOV, and more. And you can even export directly to Blender through a developer's Blender add-on. Another cool thing Callipeg has is that you can connect the iPhone version to the iPad and I believe the Android version. I'm not sure on that, but you can connect it through Bluetooth to the application and you can use your phone to scroll through your animation frames and do some other options that are also in the iPhone app. Now, of course, most people don't want to be using a phone for their animation purposes, but I think this is good for beginners or people who just don't have access to better devices. And what's good about this is that the iPhone version is much cheaper at just $5 for a full animation application. So if you have a bigger phone, I would take advantage of this. I tried using it on my phone, but honestly I didn't think it was practical to use it on a phone of my size with the iPhone 17. Aside from that, you can also get Callipeg on iPad or Android for $15, and you can get Callipeg Studio on Windows or Mac for $30. Now pricing might vary in your country because this is US pricing. So Callipeg's roadmap also confirms some other things like clipping mask, warping, and an improved color fill. I'll link it in the description if you all want to take a look. Now, this video isn't sponsored, but the developers were nice enough to give me a code for Callipeg Studio after I reached out, and I have to say I liked it. It's very minimal, and that's what I really think is its strength. If you just want to jump in and create some animation without any setbacks due to your technology, this is what you can use. It is so simple, it doesn't even have a right click to take any of the actions in this application. You just use pretty good gestures and keyboard shortcuts to navigate the whole application, and then you have these customizable toolbars where you can edit them directly on the screen, no need to go into any settings. So I think it has real potential for beginners or people who just like minimalism. The UI is very minimal and the timeline is very functional. If you want to go up a layer, you just click up on your keyboard, and if you want to move a frame, you just click left or right. So let's make a quick animation and see how simple it is. From the second you jump into Callipeg, you'll see that you're met with the gallery. It's called the Studio, and here you can open up all of your previous projects. Here I've just imported a project I previously had on the iPad where I was drawing Chaos from Sonic. Now, if you go back to the studio, you'll see that Callipeg keeps you organized in your gallery. You can create folders, and then in folders you can create scenes as well, and these will basically manage multiple shots. So shots are really kind of what you would normally call a scene, and then you can just create a scene here, and you'll see you're greeted by a new canvas and you can draw. Then if you want to create another scene, you can do that as well. And this is basically how you would export multiple things to complete a project. You can separate your different scenes to save on memory in a project so it doesn't get too large, and just create a bunch of different shots within the scene. So let's animate. Now, to animate, it's pretty simple. First, we have all of these draggable bars that we can place anywhere on the application that we want to. We have some that can show the timeline or hide it, toggle our brush settings and tool settings in general, and then we can also bring up our color bar. Now, let's draw 2 circles really quickly. If we wanted to make an onion skin, that's all we have to do. We have to click the onion skin right down here, and we can now go between these 2 frames with left and right. As you can see, it auto keyframes every time you draw. You can automatically see your onion skin before you even draw on a new frame. Now, something cool we can do is we can just flip through our frames using this circular button right here. Now, if you click on it, you can move it anywhere on your canvas. But basically, whenever you just click on this assist button on your canvas, you can just scroll through your frames. And you can just take your time doing it how you want at your own pace. You can also change this to a up and down scroll rather than a radial scroll. So that's pretty nice. Now, there are different ways you can make it scroll. You can, for example, turn it to a flipping scroll, so it will just repeat your animation. Now, I won't get into all of that, but it's a nice little feature. Now, when it comes to onion skinning, you'll see that down here above our frames, we have these buttons where we can turn off our onion skin for each frame or keep them on. And that makes it really simple to toggle through what you want to see. If you want to change how opaque it is, you can just click this up bar and you can type in a different opacity that you want to see it at. And you'll see it instantly becomes much more transparent. If we want to delete all this, we can just grab it. Or if we want to extend it, we can grab all of our frames, and as we'll see, this will only extend 1 frame when we do this. So what we have to do is we got to click this little time icon, and then we can just input exactly how much we want these to extend to. If you don't want to actually write it, you can also just drag here, though that doesn't seem to be working on the PC version yet. For me, it does work on the iPad. Now let's start over and create our own animation where we can use some of the features in this application. So let's draw this circle once again, and this time we're going to put a smiley face on it. Then I'm going to draw a circle on the 4th frame. I'm going to skip 2 frames. And I'm also gonna make this a duration of 2. Now what we're gonna do in the middle is we're going to use our in-between assist to create a frame in the middle. So the way we're gonna find this is we're going to click this up arrow and we're gonna toggle in-between assist. Now we can see from this green bar that it's selecting these 2 frames to be used as a reference to our in-between assist. So we're going to click a mark that we want to reference on our first drawing because it's visible. Now our second drawing becomes visible, and we'll try and click a mark that we want to be similar to the first mark. So I selected the bottom of the circle here, and I'll select the bottom of the circle on this next frame. And now we've successfully created our in-between assist. Now all we have to do is select a destination point. So I want to put it somewhere in the middle. I'm going to put it here, and now we'll see both of our frames are onion skinning in the same place. It automatically updates the pegs. Now I can draw my in-between right here, and I'll try to get something in between both drawings. So I'll make the circle a little bit bigger than it was in the first drawing and smaller than it was in the second drawing. And then I'll put the face at a middle point between the 2 drawings. Now let's extend this to 2 frames and let's play. Pretty cool stuff. So then we can also turn off our in-between assist by hitting the circle, and our pegs will return to the original place where the onion skin was at. Now, if I want to draw my bowl hitting the floor, I'll do that. Now at the top frame, I'll just draw again. And I'll turn on my previous keyframe so I can see the movement. Now I want to see less frames. I'll take them off and the ball will start falling. And then to be a little creative, I'll just make the ball break here. Fall so hard that he breaks. And now it will play the whole animation. If we wanted to do something like set these to loop, we can select all of our keyframes and we can create a cycle. And now with a cycle, this will keep playing back if we extend the cycle. So if I set a new out point again, we'll see that the animation will just keep going on until that cycle ends on the timeline. Now, if we want to color this in, we can create a new layer and create a drawing layer. And why don't we bring in some reference for the color? We can create a reference by clicking this photo button right here, and we can click to add another reference if we want. We can have more than one reference window. For now, I'll do one, so I'll get rid of this, and then I'll import a reference. Now, we're not going to really use the reference for anything, but we will pick the color from our reference. And right now, the color picker doesn't seem to be working in the reference bar, actually, which is quite weird. So I'm going to reduce the time of the cycle and break the cycle so it's back to its regular frames. And now I want to color. So I'm going to click this little 3 dots and click duplicate without content. This will basically copy all of the frame duration from this animation layer without copying the drawings. Then if I expand my timeline and I hide this layer, we'll see that our new layer has all the same duration with no animation in it. So I'm going to move this layer under our previous animation layer and I'm going to show it again. And now let's just get to coloring. So we're going to use our paint bucket tool and we can just drag to get all of the drawing inside without any white gaps. And we can just do this for every frame. Now, if there is a gap, you can just quickly draw in what you need and then you can go back to the fill tool and fill. So I'm just going to speed through these with the keyboard shortcuts. And yeah, you get the gist of it. This is all you would do to complete it. After that, if you want to get more intricate, we have things like transformation layers where we can use it to keyframe our animations. So if we wanted to, we can group these two layers. And then we can add a transform layer on top of that. And then we can open up our keyframing panel and we can move this across the X position if we want, and it will automatically keyframe. So let's start here. Let's add a keyframe. And then at the end of the animation, we'll put another X keyframe. So we'll just go to our move tool and we'll drag this animation all the way to the right. And now when we play back from the beginning, it will be moving right. There's a lot more in the application that I haven't went over. If you want to get another look at Callipeg where you can understand way more with the tutorials, check out the official Callipeg channel. Now, I don't have many problems with Callipeg, but there are a few things I would like to have in the application, and I would honestly say they're more nitpicky stuff, and it's not big stuff. But they are things that I think would really make Callipeg more enjoyable to work in. But since this app works across so many different operating systems, I think it would be great to have something like a Wi-Fi sync for your projects, or maybe a cloud sync. Something where you can just transfer your projects quickly to another device and continue working. Another thing I want that I've wanted in here for years is I want a curved line tool. I guess that would probably be coming with vector tools as well. But let me know what you guys think after watching this video. All in all, are you impressed with what you saw with Callipeg and Callipeg Studio? Or do you think this is an application you would wait off on and not use? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the video and if I earned it, hit a hype, like, or subscribe. It really helps. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching to the end. Goodbye.